It happened, guys. It happened. Nat Turner and the PSA team, they watched our video yesterday. They read through all the comments and they made adjustments to their pricing just that quickly. We have some updated pricing on PSA grading, and Beckett has a new CEO and they are planning some huge things, including an expansion beyond sports cards. Stick around. Hello to all my sports card collectors, investors, all of my collectibles friends. We are back again. It's another day. It's another video. Sports cards, collectibles. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We have been on an absolute tear in our subscriber count. Views are up. Everything is rolling along. So thank you all for sharing with your friends. Thank you for sticking around, hitting that subscribe button and the like button and all that stuff so that we can spread the word. Also, don't forget to connect with me on IG at SportsCardDad, and I'm also on Twitter, the SportsCardDad. All right, we did a video as early as yesterday, the day before. PSA announced $30 card grading, $30. It was $50, but of course there was all these caveats attached to that. The news is a little bit better today, so they've provided an update. They've kind of sweetened the deal a little bit, but they're still toying with us. And I want to talk about this. So what's different? What's different than the day before? Well, it's $30 a card. There is a $20 minimum. This is for Collectors Club members only. So to become a Collectors Club member, you have to pay $99 a year to have access to these prices. And I think there's also some added perks as well, but that's the deal. Collectors Club, $99 for the year. It's kind of like Amazon Prime. You got to pay a fee just to get in the game, to get that free shipping. Same deal here with PSA, $99 a year. $30 a card, 20 card minimum, 1996 to 2022. Now, yesterday we talked about the insanity of the declared value being $299 maximum. So for those, and I saw a couple of questions, this basically means that if the card after it's graded is less than $299, they've assessed that based on comparisons, which can be very, very difficult. So sometimes I feel like you're probably just pulling numbers out of the air, but $299, if it's under that, you get a PSA 10 and they believe it's under $299, you're all good. If it's more than $299, then there is an upcharge. That's what it was yesterday. Now declared value is up to $499, which does give you a little bit of wiggle room there, some wiggle room. So that's good news, because frankly, $299 is crap. I mean, if you're going to pay $30 for a card, $299 max value is, I don't know who came up with that idea, but flush that one down the toilet. Keep on thinking. Now, the one piece of note here as well is this is business that is going to be tackled after the backlog has been completed. They have a note here. New value orders will be shipped back beginning early fall after all the 2021 value orders have shipped. That's a critical piece because that means that they're very close. I do think the PSA is getting very close to the end of their backlog, probably within a couple of months, to where they have a very, very manageable backlog, to where all the new business, they don't have any issues. And so we talked about yesterday, Prism football being a motivator, a possible motivator, as far as just all the Prism football cards that are looking to get graded. And the thought is like, hey, we don't want this all to go to SGC and CSG and everybody else, so we open up this tier where it makes it possible. The thing that's kind of interesting, though, if you are a football card flipper and you're thinking like, I want to get these back to sell, a lot of times you want to be selling right before the season starts. So if they're not getting to these until early fall, well, that's when the season starts. And then frankly, once you get midway through football season, prices on a lot of stuff are receding. They're coming down. So from a timing standpoint, it's just not great. If PSA had done this maybe a month and a half ago or something, I don't know. It's just the timing isn't working out because they still have the backlog stuff to figure out. And if you're not getting it back until football season's already started, then that's not going to help you as well as it could have if the timing was just better. It's just what it is. Football cards, once you get into mid-season, it starts to cool for other things. You've got the NBA starting back up, and there's other things that kind of take priority, and money in the hobby moves around to other things. So just not great timing for that particular particular product. And frankly, I think that Prism Football is going to be an excellent case study looking back, because there will be a truckload of Prism Football that goes into grade, whether it be with PSA or SGC or whoever it's going to be. And just the overall values, the cost to grade versus getting the time back, that turnaround time, and then also what do those secondary market values look like when you take into account all the big overall economic stuff that we talk about here. You know, it's no secret, inflation, massive. I'm not going to get into a huge inflation discussion here, but the economy as a whole slowing down, not a hot economy in the United States, really globally. And so the one thing I was thinking about that could be like a really good kind of a prop back up for the hobby, kind of give it a nice boost, would be affordable grading coming back and people being able to grade raw and then sell. The thing though that's different this time around is I think the expectation is I can grade something, I can turn around and resell it for 3, 4, 5x, and it all kind of works out. Will there be opportunities like that? Yeah, I do think there will be opportunities like that, but they're going to be far fewer than they were going back 2, 3, 4 years ago when people were just churning and making a bunch of money doing it. Times have changed, it's different, and will this price point hold up at $30 a card? So let's say they keep that at $30, and is the math going to make sense for these Prism cards? You know, for certain cards it will. I'm sure, you know, Trevor Lawrence Silvers or something, I don't know. But again, you've still got the max value of $499. So then if you have to factor in what the upcharge is, I don't know. You've got to figure out what that's going to look like. Are the base rookie cards going to be hot for Lawrence or Justin Fields or Jamar Chase? These are all things that'll be very interesting to watch. That Prism Football is going to be an excellent case study to figure out that $30 price point. I think that what PSA is thinking is that's a nice price point to where we get a nice influx of cards. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they get absolutely massacred and they get tons and tons of cards at $30. There's a 20 card minimum, no problem. I've got cards at that price point that do make sense. It's just the max value part is kind of interesting. That $499 is still low. $299 is insane. That makes 0 sense. $499 is better, but still not quite there yet. You know, I think if it's $30 a card and maybe the max is $9.99, then it opens the door for a lot of things. People can take risks on certain stuff. I just don't know. So I think, again, this is kind of like, I think they're slow rolling this thing, but I think it's going to possibly be to their detriment. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. PSA is the leader. They're doing this every day. They're looking at the numbers. They know way better than I would. It is their business. Same with SGC and CSG and BGS and all the rest of it. Speaking of BGS has some news. Sports Collectors Daily had a great interview with the new CEO of Beckett. So definitely check out sportscollectorsdaily.com. They have all sorts of different news type stuff, as well as products and all sorts of stuff. So definitely check those guys out. They do an excellent job. The new CEO is Kamal Chopra at Beckett. And what's interesting is Beckett, BGS, they've gotten all sorts of pushback as like, guys, you're so behind the times. It's an archaic company. You've got a crazy form to fill out for submittals. Like, get with the times, BGS. And BGS has responded with basically hiring a tech/business guy. This guy used to work at Microsoft. He has a technology background along with a business background, and he is coming in hot with all sorts of different ideas. I was looking at this interview and I just pulled a few pieces that I thought were really interesting. And there's one thing he does like, of course, the iconic Beckett brand, and then feels like we're kind of on the cusp of a big technological push in the hobby, but also just globally in general with digital products, all the digital stuff that's going on. But I'm going to pull out a couple of things that I thought were interesting. So one thing that he said is that he sees Beckett as a one-stop shop platform of amazing products and services for collectors to manage their portfolio of alternative investments. An expansion beyond cards. So it's alternative investments. So this is no longer just a trading card company. This looks to be, over the long haul, a collectibles company that is tackling a variety of different collectibles. He does mention later in the interview, we have a product roadmap that includes VHS, sneakers, and other collectibles. He also did mention that there is no more backlog at BGS right now for cards, and that's why they just opened up another grading tier. And I can see them kind of slowly kind of opening up more. It just makes sense. If they don't have any backlog, he's saying they don't have any backlog, then I think that we start to see them getting a little bit more aggressive and taking in cards or working to take in more cards. His general statement about the company in general is, and I quote, "We have now started a long-term strategic digital transformation effort that's going to come through a multi-year product roadmap and all based on cutting-edge technology, including AI, analytics, blockchain, tech-enabled services, and automation." And so you're looking at a company that the goals, and they've got big goals and big roadmap ahead, very different than the company as it has been sitting. This is a company now that kind of in a similar fashion than what was sort of promised or what we assumed with a PSA, where they acquired Genamint. You assume that these companies, Nat Turner has a technology background. This guy has a technology background. The assumption is that we're over time, this isn't going to happen in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen in 6 months or 12 months. But what will be really interesting to see is what these companies look like in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, because they're really building infrastructure for the long term. So I know we talk on the channel, of course, about their short-term bearish sentiment. I have it. I have it right now where I'm worried about inflation. I'm worried about the global economic picture. But I'm still a believer in alternative assets, certain alternative investments, sports cards being in that bucket, some of them, obviously not all of them, over a long-term time horizon. So we're not talking about just over the next year, 2 years. That's why when people get into the big pricing discussion where it's like, this segment crashed, you're an idiot, you're dumb, this crashed. You're not taking you're looking at it differently than I am. You're looking at it from a very short term, and even 1 to 5 years is still, to me, a short term lookout for this sort of stuff. I'm really looking at this over the long haul, and this sort of capital innovation technology that's being implemented or that's looking to be implemented into these hobby companies, a lot of them, has not ever been done before, hasn't been done in the hobby before. So I think that is something that we have to kind of take that in as part of the information. So like I said, I'm bearish on a lot of collectibles pricing over the short term. I think that we're going to get hit, not even just for collectibles. I think it's going to be across the map for all asset classes. I think that we're going to feel some pain here for a little bit, but I do think that there is going to be some great buying opportunities, some good long-term stuff. When we look back, there will have been opportunities here. There will have been. And of course, we can't time the market. We don't know what's the low and what's the high. The highs from 2020 might not be the highs moving forward. I know a lot of people think it'll never be that high again. Never say never. I'm sure there's people 10, 20 years ago that were like, it's never going higher. Those Mickey Mantle cards will never be worth more than $1,000 or $5,000 or $50,000. I'm sure in 1985, when I was a kid, that people thought no one's going to pay $100,000 for a 52 Topps Mickey Mantle. That's pure insanity. Well, times change, things change. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. So time horizon, very critical part of all of this talk. And so, of course, we're going to talk about some of the bearish sentiment that is out there. And frankly, I'm going to share my thoughts on it. I've got some of that. So I know some people, they don't want to hear that. They just want to hear about what's good going on in the hobby. You can have both things. You can have bearish things that are going on globally, economically, but also have exciting things that are going on in the hobby in general with hobby companies to help kind of counteract some of that. And again, long term, I think this is going to be a very interesting segment to follow. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments per usual. I always like to hear what you all have to say. Are you excited about some of these moves? Are you kind of like, what the heck, with PSA or with Beckett? I know some people are like done. Some people that I've talked to are done with both of these companies. They're basically like, hey, both these companies have been a gigantic letdown over the last 2 years, and I'm just not interested. I'm going to go elsewhere. And there's a lot of people though that are like, hey, it happens. I'm PSA forever. I'm BGS forever. I love their slabs. I love their companies, whatever it is. And both is fine. Either is fine. Doesn't matter. You can have a view that is either, both, or neither. It doesn't really matter. So guys, thank you very much again for joining for another sports card video, collectibles video. We will see you again next time. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.